Well, hello everyone. Welcome to VR Verdict, episode 113. I am PJ.
I'm Wookiee.
And this is our weekly podcast about everything VR. It's just another Wookiee and Pj episode. No guest, so we're just gonna
Say that like you're so happy about it.
No, it's good because from the first time we had a guest, that's all we had, and then it's kind of like we never get to talk about stuff, which is, it's great hearing everyone's stories and everything, but it's like we never get to say a whole lot. But
yeah, I want to hear what they say. I don't want to hear what I say. I talk too much anyway. So, we had like one a month ago where it was just us, but since before that, it's been a long time.
Yeah, so we're gonna do it a little more often just to mix it up. So I hope I don't sound weird because I've spent the last week being sick, which isn't normal for me. So I hope I sound all right.
I can't tell.
It sucked because we had to cancel our podcast. We were going to talk to the Let's Talk Oculus podcast guys. We're going to reschedule that. I had to miss out on a Unity class we were going to do live in VRs, which I have that rescheduled now, but just really ruined my week. And I didn't get to play a whole lot of VR because having a headset on and having a runny nose and to sneeze and cough is not fun. That is the only thing about VR that sucks.
Starts filling up with liquid.
Yeah. It adds some immersion, but not the kind you want.
Sneeze and your headset shoots off.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't have any like pressure or anything, but I can imagine if you did, there's no way you could have a headset on and enjoy it. So one thing that cheered me up, because I was feeling kind of down because we had to cancel that and I couldn't play VR, out of nowhere, Dead Pressed on Twitter is the creator of Cactus Cowboy games, and he's like, hey, you want to play my game? It's coming out soon. And I'm like, yeah, because we've had him on the show. We'll have him back to chat again about Cactus Cowboy number 4 coming out soon. But he wanted us to play it. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. It just cheered me up because I'm like, oh, sweet. Because I was really feeling down about canceling and all that, because that always sucks. But so we'll get to that. But till we get into all that, what have you been up to, Wookiee? Anything fun or not fun, like being sick?
Tinkering with Unreal 4 a little bit. Talking to Robert from Big Top. I get a Twitter conversation with him, and it's just like, I fucking love Unreal 5. So he's like, oh yeah, I'll teach you whatever you want to know. So I'm doing a tutorial, just getting into that. It's I like Unreal. It's fun. Got some cool stuff.
It's for those familiar with us, we have the round table at first Friday of every month with a bunch of devs, and it always turns into Unity versus Unreal, and it's kind of like, again, I'm not a developer, but it sounds just like console wars to me, where it's like, can't we just agree that they're both cool and make cool games and enjoy?
It's funny because you got Justin from Tab Games who helped us get the space up and running. He just uses Unity, and he's just like smooth, easy going. Like, oh yeah, I'll get a module for that. We'll do this. We'll tinker with that, and it's like no big deal. And you have Robert from Big Top who's like, sounds like he's like the streamline and efficiency master, like getting so much stuff to run on older Quest 1 hardware. It's like just nuts. But he's very passionate in his hate for Unity and his love for Unreal. And like anytime anybody says anything about Unity modules, he's like, fucking modules. It's just fun to sit back and watch. If you guys haven't seen one of those, it's just have it on the background at least. Like Unity.
We do it here in our space and stream it, so it's fun to catch. And I love it's kind of like anything else. Everyone's so different, but if anyone's looking to do anything in VR, like just ask anyone, because there's community on Twitter and Yeah, I mean, everyone's great. Like, we had a bunch of people when we had to retool and bring up a new space for ourselves. Like, we had so many people offering to help and doing this and that, and it was just like,
Again,
damn.
Tab made the area, and Garage Collective Hero gave us this booth, and just like, hey, you made this with recording people in mind, or maybe just us. I'm not sure, but boop, it's very helpful. So,
Yeah, but
interesting
like
place.
yeah, the last round table, Robert's like, I'll show anyone anything for Unreal, and he just loves to teach that
Yeah.
stuff. And even Don Carson from Walkabout Mini Golf, I've had a couple people followers on Twitter, after that episode, like, I checked out that guy's stuff and holy crap, like, yeah, he's a treasure trove of
Yeah.
information. So yeah, it just start asking people. If no one else asks us, we'll help you find some. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a question that maybe one of our roundtable does can get to the first Friday again every month, just ping us. We'll ask them and try to. Not that they're at everyone's beck and call those specific folks, but just the whole community seems really, tips and tricks.
Yeah. And keep once we get the space done and we can have an audience, you will feel free to come in and ask questions on the fly. So it's cool. So sorry, I kind of bushwhacked my question to you.
Well, for fun stuff, it's been kind of a boring week. I mean, I'm a gun owner now. I never thought I would be.
Say we've been playing Zero Caliber with our nephew Logger on Quest, and Wookiee's finally getting to live his gaming dreams out with an actual vector in his hands.
Yeah, it's not just that. It's like, yeah, that's the only reason I know of the Chris Vector gun, but it's also like recoil and all this cool stuff. And it's Home Defense had a weird snafu earlier this year that kind of was like, I think it might be time for some self-defense, because that 3 to 5, 8, whatever minutes between you call 911 and somebody shows up at your house, that's all on you. Like, there's nothing, like, you're dead or whatever. So we didn't have anybody specifically for us, but it was like a very eye-opening thing. I don't really want a gun, but I figured if I have to have one, I like things to be works of art and designy. I'm a real big design person. Like, this thing looks and is machined perfectly. Plus, it'll get me out there and learning it. Whereas, like, a handgun's just going to be sitting on the table when you need it. You'd be like, oh shit, And this one, this will make me go out and actually practice a little bit. I don't know if I want to be a gun range person. I need to find some way to practice without going to a gun range. But again, I didn't want to be the dude that buys a handgun, figures out that's the wrong handgun, gets another one, and buys something else, and has like 10 guns before you know what you want. I'm like, what? I'm just going to throw all that money into one expensive ass gun. Yeah, it's fun. It is the coolest thing. It's a little heavy. Didn't think it was going to be as heavy as it is. An ingenious design, getting to tear it apart and look at the actual recoil mitigation, because when you pull the trigger, you just, it's semi-automatic, so I don't have an automatic, but I, can watch videos of people shooting that thing in like 1,200 rounds a second, and it's out of ammo. Like, holy shit! But you don't have hardly any recoil. Like, right back on the target. It's really fun. So, PJ and I went shooting guns once. I've shot with some other people, and it's fun to shoot them. This one is like if you guys watch old school Top Gear, the Grand Tour guys, the 3 British dudes, the James May guy always says gives him a fizzy feeling behind his member or whatever. It gives you the fizz, because it's like, ooh.
Yeah, it was funny. I don't know if I think you bought it. Then we were just chatting with, again, Logger, our nephew. He's in the military, so you guys had quite the conversation going. And like you said, we've shot guns, but I am not a gun person by any means.
Yeah.
So just interesting to see you guys' back and forth. But like when we went to the gun range, and this happened even when we were starting up paintball, like, we're pretty good shots with right off the bat, because I don't remember what all we shot. I'm sure you do, but we hit like I still have my target from then, and every bullet was in the target.
We shot a
But
Scar H. Scar has a
yeah,
semi-automatic,
that
which is the loudest
that's
fucking thing I've ever heard.
that's again not a gun person. Play a lot of video games, so I'm familiar with digital guns, but
Yeah,
shooting that heavy Scar was the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life.
yeah. And the way this kind of started, I went to a local gun range, and girlfriend was like, "We needed, something home defense." So she's thinking shotgun. So she wanted to try shooting them and get, bird shot, buck shot, all that stuff. So we did that. Which she's a badass. She was right on target.
Nice.
She was finding and correcting flaws with the instructor's personal AR-15 with the red dot, because he shot like at an 8.5 by 11. He shot really low. I hit right next to him. She hit right next to him. She started walking it up. Like, it's fun. But forgot where I was going with that. But brain
She's a
fart.
good shot.
She's a good shot. But the whole point of that was how I got the vector was going through that stuff. And the conversation between a nephew and I was about like gun stances. How do you? What's the best way to hold a gun? Because the instructor was like flat chest right at it, which like your front arm is like way out here, like you're looking at it like, how do you even stabilize that? And Nicole's not as big as I am, so she was like, it looked weird, and I'm like, shouldn't you angle your body a little more? It's a little more comfortable. So that's spawned that thing. Like if you have a plate carrier on, yeah, you're going to be full frontal, so you have more protection. Like that's the only person that's ever said that, and the research that I've been doing. It's like that makes sense. Question answered. But you don't have any like you have a kick of a shotgun, and you don't have a back foot. You have both feet kind of horizontal. You're gonna go back.
Yeah.
Like, boom. So
That'd be a good app for VR, just like training for that. I'm sure the military has plenty of those, but just in the normal sector with gaming, like there's a lot of like gun games and just like range type games, but I don't think they
gun lobbies
train you.
Like Pavlov, you kind of spawn now in a gun range. It was like in an office way back when, and then now you spawn in a gun range, and Zero Caliber, at least on the Quest, has a gun range. They all have it in the capability, but they don't really like, if you had like airsoft version of the gun you're using, and you could kind of hold it, they could teach you kind of safe stances and how to not be an idiot, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But then you have, in like Zero Caliber on Quest, which is pretty fun. Some guns, when you push like the cycle to fire mode, like semi-auto and burst and stuff, that has the little toggle switch that moves, but some of them don't. So it's like I gotta shoot the gun over here. Like, no, that's full auto. It's nutty. Yeah. There's a lot to learn, a lot to not do incorrectly. Apparently, you can get snap caps, which are like fake bullets that kind of take the brunt, so you can dry fire in your house to practice. Some of them have like laser things that when you pull the trigger, it hits and activates a laser, and your phone can actually watch a target, and you can play like laser tag in the house, so you can see when your trigger pulls mess your gun up, which is a huge problem, especially with handguns. You pull your trigger too hard and you're snapping it off the side. So a lot of new things to learn.
Would you ever use something like, I don't know, even if I lived alone, and not that I have kids or anything, like it would just feel weird to be like running around your house with a real gun, aiming and pulling triggers.
The only reason I would do that is like if an event happened where somebody was getting into your house, you'd want to be very familiar with using, especially the Vector I have has, the adjustable stock, but it's the carbine version, carbine, however you pronounce it. So it's got a long 16-inch barrel shroud. It looks like it's suppressed, but it's not. So if you're scared and it's the middle of the night, you might bang that thing on a wall and you don't know what's going on. So if you're going to use like a laser sight, so you don't have to really aim, you're going to want to make sure you turn it on. When you shoot, turn it back off so they don't see the dot. That kind of shit. There's all sorts of shit you would want to know, like, in getting around the corners in your house, and just thinking of it like that.
Yeah.
Not that you'd ever need to use it, because what, I would really recommend is barricading yourself in a room with 911 on the phone and just start shouting at the person saying you're armed, and then they can hear that shaklacky when you're, when you're
I
moving the bolt back.
I used to work with a guy. He's an older gentleman. Again, I live in Wisconsin, if that helps. He's like, yeah, if you're in my house, no matter where you're at or whatever is going on, there's always a gun within arm's reach. I'm like, maybe just don't be an asshole. Like, why do you have to?
And that's the
What
thing.
are you
Like,
afraid of?
you cannot be an asshole, but that you're gonna have an asshole in your neighborhood at some point,
Yeah.
maybe. So that's again. I've never really wanted to own one. Thought that it'd always be neat to have like a G36C because they look cool in the games or something. But
Yeah.
yeah. And again, when I, kind of when I bite the bullet and buy something stupid like that, it's like it's got to like check a bunch of boxes. So like when we had Tommy Palm from Resolution Games, and I have the car that apparently he really wants and can't find one over there, the Volvo from the '60s. It's like I've always wanted an old car, never really found one. Mustangs are awesome. It would have to be a specific type of Mustang, and those are the expensive ones, of course. Not because there's too many Mustangs. And then I see this thing, and I'm like, well, I'm going to get that, like just off the cuff, like after a couple
Well,
decades being like, should I? Just I'll just buy it. And then it's
you
the
still
coolest
sat
thing.
on it for a couple weeks because you're like, what do you think? Should I? Shouldn't I? You went back and forth for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, I'll decide on it, but it's
Yeah.
pulling the trigger eventually, and it's like it's sporty and muscly and classy and all in the same package. The same thing with the Vector. It's like it looks cool as hell. It's easy to maintain. You just pull some pins out and the whole thing falls apart. So there was education behind it. I'm sure a lot of people, if I were to go to a gun range, they'd be like, "Oh, look at that idiot," and then they'd have an opinion. I'm like,
Yeah.
your opinion is great.
Yeah. Like, we went to that range and stuff, and I was at a range one other time before that, and I couldn't be a range person like you were saying. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Even if I was like, if it was my hobby type of thing or whatever, but different breed.
And doing some research about how to be, not that I want to be Keanu Reeves from John Wick, but if that's what it takes to get used to a gun to find a course like that, I'm game. But one dude told a story that terrified me, which is because of Instagram nowadays. Everyone's got to be, taking photos of doing shit. And with a loaded handgun, some girl turns around with the handgun, just like, a valley girl, swinging it around, pointing it everywhere, which is what you're not supposed to do. And be like, take my photo for my Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
And the guy just put his gun down, told the security officer, and just never came back to a range. I was like, in a nutshell, that's exactly what I would be terrified of. Some girl would be like, and then blow my brains out. And I'm just over there, loading a magazine.
Yeah.
What a way to go.
Yeah.
I don't know where to safely do all that. But it is fun. I didn't, I've shot before. I still have some old papers too. I've got one of those tiny, like quarter size playing card decks that a friend of ours was using, and I hit that with like a 357 Magnum, like the Clint Eastwood gun, from 20 paces or so away. So were good shots, like you were saying. It's fun, but I've never had any fun like it is just to hold and use this damn Vector. It is just the coolest. I feel like you're
So
I don't want to say 10 years old, but sort of.
my question, to bring it back to other things, what's in your experience now that you've shot that gun for real? Because we've used it in quite a few games. What game has been the closest to the real thing, in your opinion? VR or not, like whatever.
You'd have to split VR and the other games aside, though, because really, when you
true.
get down to the tactical field, so there's no recoil in VR games or other games either. But lately, Zero Caliber's pretty spot on. The games we've gravitated towards lately are, Breakpoint, if we're not in VR, and Zero Caliber, and they do a pretty good job of showing just how fast they can choose the Division games too. Because literally, you put that thing on, you just hold the trigger down, and it's just like the video game. It's kind of spooky how easy that gun is to shoot. Because again, there's no recoil in the video game, so you don't really get like an idea of the shot, getting back on target. But that gun is like nuts. I took a 1 hour personal training course just to kind of get used to mobility, and had a guy setting stuff up. And he's like, stand here, fire 2 rounds, stand here, like lean against the wall, like slam against the wall kind of hard as if you're being motioned, then just shoot in the thing. And I got like 1 bullet outside of the dude, but it was just, the grouping is insane.
Yeah,
and I'm sitting there like slamming against a wall, and it's like, holy shit! It's like a video game. So
yeah, and in Zero Caliber, that thing, by the time it eventually does kick a little bit, the clip's empty and all the bullets are like in one spot.
yeah, that's exactly.
Because I was
up to about 50
mowing people
yards.
down the last time we were playing. Yeah,
yeah, because you had to reset your headset. So I was like, we were throwing, our nephew and I were like throwing PJ guns because his save got deleted. We had to start over. Like, here's a gun.
yeah.
But yeah, that's what it's like. Because I was gnashing the trigger. You can install binary triggers, I guess, which, like, when you squeeze the trigger, it lets off a round, and when you let go of the trigger, it lets off another round, and that's about as fast as I'll ever get to shoot it, because it's not full auto, and you can't just do some tinkering to make it full auto. It's like a completely gunsmith sort of thing, so that's good.
Plus, right now, like, that's expensive. You shoot the whole clip, like, that's what, $50?
No,
or
it
more
was
now?
$50 for the 1 box of ammo I had, and it was sort of like 2 little squares of bullets, probably about 4, the 13-round magazine, probably about 4 reloads. It was about $50. So 1 13-round clip, and that's even with the bottom of the vector, if you're familiar with how it looks. Because in lots of games, it like has a long thing sticking out. It's like a 24 to 30-round magazine, depending on your bullet. But with 13-round magazine, 4-ish reloads, $50, $45.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Buck a shot, probably. So that's why those fake bullets that you can dry fire in your house are probably pretty handy. Some people, I guess, refactor their own bullets and pick up the casings, put powder in and all. And I don't know if I'd trust myself to.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust myself.
Do that. Like blow apart the gun, and you can hold the gun with a different method, but like the way the vector is meant to be held, it's right on the end, like front to the bottom is the mag well where the magazine goes. That's where you're grabbing the gun. If something exploded in there because of a malfunction with the faulty ammo, I think you'd probably lose a finger or two.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think I'll try to be safer than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is
pay the dollar. Yeah. Welcome to VR Gun Chat.
But again, there's weird crap going on in the world, and I am not a gun person by nature. It's fun to visit. Wouldn't want to live there. But now I'm in gunland. I kind of think that everybody should branch out, like, maybe get a pilot's license and a helicopter license and a motorcycle license, just in case you need to use one. So, plan ahead.
And boating license for the zombie apocalypse.
And read the book World War Z if you're worried about that, because it's got a lot of plausible scenarios. Not the movie, but the book. A lot of plausible scenarios. Girlfriend read my copy of that, and it's like, holy shit. That's kind of exactly how it would happen in a bunch of different countries.
They made a book out of that movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Get the audiobook, the PJ version.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna talk about Lord of the Rings, but I won't even open. We'll be here. You think that gun chat was long? We'll be here the rest of the night, so I'm not gonna ask. Yeah, maybe next time.
Don't ever mention the upcoming TV show to me either, because I'll probably.
Anyway, aside from Zero Caliber, you've been playing, like, this week aside, you've been in VR more than you normally are, and it's been kind of cool. We played some Demio with Michaela Plays VR and Yo-Yo Colo VR.
Yeah, it was fun. Yo-Yo Cola and Michaela, they were fun.
Yeah, and it was Yo-Yo's first time, and it was Michaela's second time. And she made a neat video. You should check out her videos. Maybe I'll throw a link in the chat or in the show notes. But that game is it's like a whole new game with new people that you haven't played with before.
Yeah,
and if they're cool people, like like we had, it's even more fun. So yeah.
Even if there's bad people, unless they're like bossy jerks. Because I remember one time we had like 2 little kids playing, and they were awful, but they made it entertaining because sometimes if
Yeah.
if people are just purposefully dumb, or brand new people might not have all the tactics that you've just
Yeah.
gotten over playing it a
Okay,
bunch of times.
now use backstab and then do that and then do that. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
like
It's like,
you get
I know how to
those
play.
types of people that run in and die and then spend the rest of the turn telling you how to play, and it's like, okay. But when people are legitimately figuring out, and you're going to have
Yeah,
some misses, because that game, I miss way too much. PJ misses all the time. I don't know why it picks you to do that.
I know why.
But then just otherwise you'd be too strong.
Yeah.
But it's just handling the fallout, and like being a little more agile on the, oh shit, that didn't work. And it's just fun to play backup for folks like that.
Yeah.
So they
And
can learn.
we played the original map, which we've played plenty, and it got pretty easy for us, which the other 2 newer ones are really hard. It's
Comparable,
fun
yeah.
because it makes that easy map a more of a challenge because you're playing with a newer person and they do something that didn't work out how they thought, and it's like, sweet, now I get to help defend against whatever happened. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And I think like, I'm always about expectations are too rigid for most people. Like things aren't fun and you get mad, it's because you expected a different outcome. But not that I was mad at all, but I think it was Michaela that was the bard
Yeah.
that didn't use the buff song till the end. She just ran in with the knife, just knifing everybody. It was working for her. Like,
Yeah, the most meleeest of bards I've ever seen. It was awesome.
yeah, she's just snapping it up. There's, if you try to give people info in games like that, there's just too much. Like, you're not going to be able
Yeah.
to retain that. So it's just let them run, and they'll figure it out. It's just fun to, like I said, you go play the sweeper, the cleanup crew.
Yeah, we got to finish with that save. We didn't get all the way through.
Let's title that. Yeah, that and your caliber in there in VR a little bit more often.
Yeah.
I tried to do the Cactus 4, but it didn't work on my headset. I got to this excellent little loading screen with like an old school, like, what were those old games on the PC? There's like Duke Nukem before it was,
Yeah.
3D. It was just 2D. And Captain Keen or something like that with a
Yeah.
football helmet. It looks like one of those things, like the very old pixel hand with like an old 3.5-inch floppy, and just said loading. And I could jump and make noises with the trigger. So I'm like, I don't think my Quest is liking the APK, but I wanted to see what the game is about. But I had fun on the loading screen because I could move.
So, like I mentioned earlier, we had the developer on the podcast before, so we'll have a link to that, but we'll have him back and talk about the new one. But he's a really great guy, great sense of humor, and he makes these games for free. It's a hobby, and he's an old school gamer, so, and I love that. So, like we talked about Cactus Cowboy 3 fully loaded, or fully loaded, I think it was called. Right in the first map, you're like shooting, you're reloading, like real mechanics in VR. You can jump, you can climb on ropes and up walls and stuff, like all the mechanics, and they feel really good. The shooting feels really good. I was telling them I had in Cactus Cowboy 4, the new one coming out, there's a single shot rifle where I was taking bugs out from pretty far away, and it felt really good. So yeah, great guy, great developer. The games are fun. He said it was like 4 to 7 hours, which is amazing for a VR game, and it's free. Like, what the hell? He's just trying to. It's his hobby. He loves it, and he tries to make a really fun game. So the new game, the 4 Cactus Cowboy 4, it's kind of like a set in World War II, I believe. There's like tanks and planes, and you cross the water in those carrier boats and storm up the beach and all that good stuff. I like it starts out like a child cactus is playing like Call of Cactus, which, air quotes Call of Duty on the computer, and his grandpa walks in. They start talking about his grandpa being in the war, and then it goes into the game, and he's telling him stories. It's got good humor, really good mechanics, good action, a lot of fun. You know, handguns, semi-automatics, automatics, single shot, grenades, all kinds of good stuff. So
period correct weaponry, because in Cactus game it better be period correct.
And I love the melee in the game. You just pull the trigger and these spikes come out of either of your hands, and you just whack people. Very satisfying.
So your melee attacks with your fist just have triggers too, like trigger action?
You just hold it down and these spikes come out. And it goes ching, and you go.
That's weird.
Good. Yeah. But yeah, definitely check it out. It's a good time. It was funny. He's like, "Hey, if you want to play this, cool. I just submitted Tap Lab," and like 2 days later, he's like, "Well, I wasn't ready for this. It's already approved and good to go, and I can release whenever." And he's like scrambling to finish things up. Yeah, like that's by far the quickest turnaround for App Lab I've ever heard. So hopefully that's a good sign for him and for App Lab stuff. But
yeah, looked interesting. Yeah, before the loading screen, I could see a tank drive by, and I could look around, but I couldn't move. And then World War II plane flew overhead, and I was like, "Ooh!" And then I got stuck on the loading screen. So, again, Quest 1 mileage may vary, and I accept that.
Well, we were playing an early build that wasn't even 100%. So we'll see. On the Quest 2, I didn't have any issues, but we'll see what happens. There will be a PC version too for those listening that are interested. But we'll have him back to talk all about it. I just wanted to give him a shout out. I'm pretty sure he said it's coming out on the 16th, and this was all happened in like the last 2 days. So he's been busy. It's been crazy. Yeah, can't wait to have him back and talk about it. Like I said, he's got a great sense of humor, and he's just a good guy. So very passionate. But yeah, in the game, like you mentioned, the tanks and planes, he's been releasing little snippets of videos here and there as he's been working on it the last year or so. And there's a couple cool things, cool scenarios in the game where you're riding in a vehicle and shooting and stuff. I really love that stuff. Even in old traditional games, I love that shit. But it just, in VR, it just even makes more sense because you don't have to be moving around. So
games do a good job of making that hard sometimes too, though. Like Battlefield 1 with the World War I stuff, and like even the Breakpoint game we play, like non-VR games. They're like your camera's just like it would be in real life, but your brain can compensate in real life. You're like attached to the car, so you just like, unless someone's like not moving the car or helicopter very much, I can't hit shit in the vehicle. Like if I kill one guy out of like a whole crowd, I'd be like, yay! Then I die. But I always want to stick my head out and shoot.
Yeah. You mentioned Breakpoint. Yeah, not VR, but whatever. You're normally driving vehicles whenever we play with Logger, if it's just you and I for some reason. So we've gotten pretty good at like taking guys out with a couple shots, going full blast. Like I have videos, many videos, just
and I'm
tearing ass around and just
mowing down. I'm actually jealous because, like, I might run a couple over here and there, but you guys are like, and you're like dead and down or whatever, and I'm like, that would have been like you guys would have had to back up and maybe turn around. Circle the wagons, and then I would have nicked them, and maybe they would have bled to death in a couple days.
Well, it's kind of your fault, because even like in Grand Theft Auto when we played so much, we were making up our own fun, and we'd get in a helicopter, and you just kind of, again, you'd be piloting. So we'd be attacking these guys here in the helicopter, he'd be sitting way over here, and you're like, all right, you just pause, and then we'd just start sniping from way the hell over there.
You and our friend used to play with this Reaper. Yeah, we would do that and like get just far enough where the guys wouldn't be able to shoot because they were just out of range for the NPCs, and they just try not to move. Like,
but you can't. Like those copters don't just sit there. Like they can constantly move, and you're like
the wind.
You do really well at just making it smooth to where like again, miles away in a game with a sniper scope, and GTA's controls aren't great anyway, so it's just like,
Yeah.
But
I'm
yeah,
a good
good times.
wheelman, I guess. I'm a
Yeah.
good Kraber sniper in old school Titanfall, and I'm a good wheelman in most games. That's it.
That's another VR game I'm surprised we haven't seen yet. Back in the old Grand Theft Auto games, where you could drive around. I don't remember the game mode, but someone was driving, the other guy'd be shooting a handgun, and you try and take the other car out. Like, that'd be perfect in VR. One guy driving, and the other guy just trying to shoot. Come on.
Let's make one.
Okay.
That's why I'm learning Unreal, just to tinker around.
Wookiee is maybe making a hide and go seek game. We'll see what happens.
Just
kinda excited.
play with the controls, yeah. Probably in every game I ever would make, I'll probably start with like hide and seek to get all the controls down. So like everything's gonna have a hide and seek. Because prop hunt and that one Call of Duty game, and like
Yeah.
we always say this stuff, but like Assassin's Creed multiplayer, when that first launched ages ago, that first month from the first one was like the best time ever because you're just hide and seek.
Yeah, it's so good. So another thing I wanted to bring up, we haven't mentioned an accessory forever since our original early episodes when we used to do one episode. And I'm sure VR veterans know, but one of my favorite accessories for VR, and especially with a Quest with no cable, is a freaking swivel chair. I was playing Anshar 2, which came out a couple months ago. I was playing it early before release, and just we played it on computer, if you remember or not. They totally redid it for Quest, and it's so much like the old games are great, but it's so much better. Like, it's way more combat-y, if that makes sense. But
combat-y.
I can just spin around in my chair, and it's crazy. I'm just like, woo.
Yeah, I just have a big ass like reclining couch, and it's not fair because we'll play like Star Wars Squadrons, and have our headset on, and it's a fucking crazy to look around in those cockpits, and it's nuts. But then PJ can look behind and see if you're chasing him or some shit. And it's like just whoop, and I'm like, you cheater. But
yeah, that go-kart game was a big one.
Go-kart, and then the World War One airplane game.
Yeah,
just like warplanes, World War One or something like that. You play in the dogfight, and I have to be as cheap as possible to get you down because you can just turn around and you can switch to other gunner positions, and PJ can just turn around and see where you are and like bank a different way. And I got to use every cheap tactic I can think of to get you down.
Yeah, that game, like,
chair.
Since the turret swivels with you, like just having a headset and sitting in a swivel chair, you can literally just spin, and it's so freeing. Like, you feel like you're in that freaking plane. Speaking of which, they released a sequel to that like a month ago. I kept trying to mention it, but I forgot. Yeah,
I love that freaking game. Just to fly around with it.
So we might have to check that out.
And like the multi-flyer planes where you can kind of just switch all the seats and control the gun. It's got the big like metal ring, so you could probably go all the way around. But like since like I can go like about here, and that's as far as I can turn. PJ's just sitting there gunning me down anywhere I go. I got to be underneath him. Just kidding.
But the swivel chair aside, and I'm a very big on sitting games and standing games and room scale. I love all VR. I even love the third person perspective side scroll, like all of it. It's awesome. But the coolest accessory for an accessory, and this is gonna sound a little weird, I found a cup holder for my swivel chair, because my swivel chair, like the arms will fold back, so it's like completely open as I punch my table next to me.
That's the good thing.
So I have a cup holder that I found that is technically for a wheelchair that clamps to the arm of my chair, and it'll swivel. So if I put the arm up, it'll swivel properly. And it has a cup holder and a phone holder. It's so nice. And if I lay the arm back, the cup holder part will swivel up, and it's like always available. It is so cool because then I can always have my bottle of water and my phone next to me.
It is like, not that you need that, but it definitely does help. It's like I'm always, like if we're waiting for somebody or you got to share a room code in Vimeo, you got to like,
Yep.
do the tap to pass through, or kind of like get a fumble around and get a drink.
Yeah. Because if I'm playing like a standing game, I have like a little laptop table that I put it in the back of my room, and like if we're waiting for someone like you said, or sharing room codes, I have to like, sounds dumb, but I have to walk across the room, lift my headset up, look at the phone, blah blah. Right here, I can just kind of peek at it. It's really awesome. So if you play in a swivel chair, I can send you a link or just look for one. But it's so nice.
Show notes.
Yeah. I just wanted to share that if you have not played in a swivel chair, if you have the option, try it. It'll blow your mind. So yeah.
It is a good idea. Again, as much as I love the couch I sit in, not as mobile as a swivel chair for those games.
And the awesome people at Anshar, I've been trying to, like I said, I got early access to that game, and I love it. I still hop in and play it when I can. I think that released a month or two ago, and I had it like a month before that. And I've been trying to get them on the podcast. They've just been super busy, but they're coming. I'm excited.
That's cool.
Yeah. So anyway, Mike, before I got sick and all that other crap, I was originally gonna try to go through our gaming history, but I don't think we have time for that now because that'll easily be an hour.
Our gaming history.
Yeah, like just for a tidbit, we'll save this, but not my earliest memory, but one of our earliest memories, because we're a little on the older side. So our first console was probably in the NES, unless you can remember something else, because I don't.
We had an Atari way later, that like way
Yeah.
after the NES, but yeah, it was an NES.
So before the NES, like we played at our cousin's house or friends' houses before we got one, because we got one pretty late. All I remember, aside from like normal arcades, is we'd go to this little supper club in the middle of nowhere and play Zaxxon on a tabletop. Like that's my first, I don't know if I'd say memory, but I don't know if that's where it started or not.
Zaxxon, if you guys haven't seen, just go look at videos because it's like isometric. You're just kind of zooming along, and like you're seeing like a spaceship at an angle, and you gotta dodge things and go up and higher and stuff like that. It was just really 3D way before 3D because you had to think like that. There was an old Star Wars speeder bike game that kind of felt like that along somewhere in the arcade. But Zaxxon is like super fun.
A cool thing, if you have PCVR or whatever, 3D Sen on Steam lets you play arcade games in VR, and you can actually play them normally, which Zaxxon is amazing in VR. But just for an example that most people can relate to, think of like a side-scrolling game like Mario. You can turn the camera and actually play from that viewpoint and run, like you'll see the level in a straight line. Like it's so freaking neat.
I remember
you can do that with any old game. So I played Zaxxon in that, and it was just as awesome as it used to be. So that was really cool. So check that out if that sounds awesome.
Can you like zoom into the cockpit view, like fly right behind the ship, and then do that with that, or is it just like a set camera swivel?
No, you can like pretty much position the I don't even know how to explain it. Not the ROM, but like the graphics from pretty much any angle and zoom in and out. So I didn't even try to do that with Zaxxon. I guess maybe I have to do that.
It's weird because everything's like drawing to 2D. So if they've like extruded the graphics to make like things thicker, and you rotate like the play space in memory or something like that, how does it not just be like one color? Because like if you're like in old NES Mario, if you're kind of jumping up that last like kind of cliff before you jump off to hit the flagpole or whatever, if you look at that and you tilt it, you're just going to see like tan because you're just a brick over brick.
Yeah, I think if I'm trying to remember, this was a long time ago, almost a year now that I've done this. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I remember how Mario looked, and it was just like the graphics, whatever's in there. Like it's just flat, so you
Mm,
just see colors and things. So yeah, you're probably right.
gotcha. Tilt it a little bit and still hop on the Goombas, the
Yeah,
mushroom buddies. That's neat.
yeah,
Joe, I guess do gaming history on the next Wookiee and PJ fireside chat.
yeah. But until then, I know the big Meta things coming up. I'm a very much game application person. Like new headsets are great and awesome and cool, but I'm way more into like I need more games, more apps, more experiences.
And
So it's exciting. Like it's their games conference, so we should hopefully hear some cool stuff. But they are rumoring to announce the next like Quest 2 Advance or whatever the headset may be. But
I just
I don't know what. Oh, we lost Wookie again. So now I have no one to talk to. I'm going to talk to myself. That'll be fun for you guys. Oh, Wookie's back. I'm the unicorn.
about that. I
Howdy.
think I got to get a new router. That happens like once an episode at least lately now. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I just want more competition. I put my name down for a Steam Deck. I don't know if I'll actually order one, but
Yeah.
because those just look neat. I'm usually not a hardware like ever since the consoles didn't launch with like some crazy fun game and like have a big event. Like, don't give a shit.
Yep. Yeah.
Just want to have the experiences. I don't care if I have like a broken, dingy old, like got crust on something. There's chocolate on my headset. Not really. It's chocolate. I swear.
Oh, I could talk about that when you're done. Sorry, go on.
that was it. I'm the same with like the experiences. Like, I love gadgets. I love things like that, but I'm falling off of consumerism pretty quick. To say that after I buy like the biggest toy of a firearm kind of thing, like that's a toy. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and I don't want a new phone. Fuck, I've got a OnePlus 6T for ever it seems now. And it's probably time to upgrade. But it's like I don't care to get a new
Yeah.
one. I just want that thing to last forever. I don't care anymore about the hardware.
Yeah. Competition will be nice. The Pico Neo is coming out too in Europe soon, and it's basically looks like a Quest 2 and it has a lot of options, but it has an actual I can't remember the name of the port. It's like an IO port, goes right to your computer, like no compression at all. So hopefully that'll be cool. Even though most people like, even with Oculus Link, which I'm a huge fan of, like,
Yeah.
I'm a PCVR person over mobile, but I get it.
Well,
People still aren't happy with that. Like everything has to be wireless or no one wants it. And it's like, no, I get it, but I'd rather have the best graphics and resolution and all that, anyway.
I get it. We're different that way too, because when we have the Rift, which I just sent to you, because I don't use it anymore. It was just always cobbled together. We'd play like Pavlov, and I'd like spin like this direction in my room, and it would drop my hands because I couldn't quite get the sensors to line up. And it just, I'm glad it happened because of stepping stone. But man, alive, like I don't mind plugging in, and I like that you can plug the Quest in, and I was kind of like, oh, the camera's on the front, so if I go, my hands back here, I can't really see what I'm doing, so the headset's not going to track very well. That is probably way better with sensors, but it's like just making all those things work. And then it was, the USB, like the amount of shit I had to learn about my computer, and I'm not new to computers. Like, wait, I can only have two things plugged into the USB 3 before the shit starts to overload the bus, so you have to have one of the sensors on USB 2. And my
Yeah.
shuttle PC Cube computer has one USB bus, which I think I've burnt out because of that rift. Had too much traffic. So I had to go find out where the USB 2 thing is on the motherboard. I have like two cords hanging out like an open hole in the back that spawned from the USB 2. I had to plug one in there. I was like, oh my God, just to play a game. It was rough.
So my PSVR story is much like that. We can go through that real quick here.
Oh no.
So I got a PS5 just to get prepared for PSVR 2. I've never owned a PlayStation. They've had handfuls of games I've loved to have tried. I just not enough. I've been an Xbox guy forever. We'll get into that when we do our histories and stuff. But so I got a PS5. I'm like, I'll get PSVR 1 just to check it out. They have some good games I haven't got to play, obviously. So make some fun with that. So I got the Iron Man bundle, like really cheap on eBay. I was happy. Like 3 months before I got the console. Finally got the console. Got everything set up. I went to play Iron Man like the first day I had it. I was so excited. I'm like, where the fuck does this camera plug in? It's supposed to go here, but it doesn't fit. Come to find out, you need an adapter because the old headset for PS4, they didn't have the same port, so they needed an adapter. So that sucked. So the good news is they'll send you one for free. Bad news is it's supposed to take 2 months, 3 months to get. Like, God damn it. Thankfully, they sell them for like $20 on Amazon, like a third party type thing. Got one, worked just fine. A week later, I got the one that I got for free. So I could have waited, but I'm like, I want to play it. So that was one thing. So again, my first PlayStation ever. A lot of cool things. I've never been like I hate console guy. PlayStation's just the one brand I've never gotten because I've had everything else. So the second thing I ran into is some games need I still don't know the names. There's an aim controller, which is like a gun, which is the coolest peripheral ever. Every company or whatever you want to call it should have this thing. It's a full controller in the stock of a gun. Like it has the buttons and joysticks and everything on it.
Yeah.
Couple games use it, so I got one. Used one off of GameStop. Works really well. A lot of cool games. They didn't have one locally, so I had to order it. So I couldn't play those games for a couple weeks or whatever it took to get it. So I'm like, all right, I'll try the other older games I haven't played, like Astrobot. That's one of the ones I've been wanting to play. I go to play it. It's like, you got to use the correct controller. And I'm like, I have, like, it said, like, the red controller. I'm like, I have the only controller that's on. It's not working. It's like, oh, I need a freaking PS4 controller. Because they have the light and stuff on it.
Like, you need a PS4 controller on your PS5, but just because that game needs a PS4 controller. Like,
yeah.
Oof.
So I went to GameStop, bought a $60 controller to play like these 5 games. But I haven't got to play all the ones I wanted to play, but Astrobot is a lot of fun. It was worth getting the controller because thankfully I made a PS5 or a PlayStation account a while back so I could get games on sale for super cheap. So I've been doing that in preparation. So I'm kind of, I don't know if you would say break even, but I haven't spent as much as I could have, so that's okay.
$5 for the console, and how much is that? And 60, that's a lot. Yeah,
it's a lot, but it seems like there's one other thing for VR. Anyway, it was just like a new hurdle every week. Like, what's going on? Like, I wish I'd have thought of all this, but anyway, right now I'm up and running. Like the headset, like I'm impressed. Like it has like a halo band, and like the front part has a button, and it'll like kick off of your face, so you can actually like look at your phone, and then you just kind of smush it back in, and super comfortable. It has a cable. The controllers, they're like wands. So they don't have a joystick on them; they have buttons. So I'm not a huge fan of that, but they're still fine. But like you have to use the buttons to kind of turn, almost like a N64 controller back in the day.
Oof.
It works, but I'll be happy when PSVR 2 comes out. That was the whole reason for this. But the games are sweet. I'm glad I got it. It was just I kept laughing at myself. It was like I can let this stress me out, or I can laugh about it. So I'll laugh about it. It was quite the journey, but I learned a lot.
Yeah, it's exactly how we felt. Probably both of us when we first got. We have like a giant OneNote of all this troubleshooting we did, and the processor I got in my PC was like a K. I don't remember even which type of Intel. i50 700K or whatever from 2016. But the K or whatever designation means it's like automatically over volted, like by like 0.1 something. And I didn't know that. I was overheating like a bitch. I had to figure that out, do heat test, and then use like Throttle Stop as a third-party app where you just go through and like undervolt it, literally like 0.1 something, fixed all my heat issues. I don't know how long that took. And that was like, that's not VR's fault or the Rift's fault or anything, but it was just like,
yeah,
everything. Like every time we go to play a game, something was going on. And I don't know, did you open up the Rift I sent you, the old Rift?
Yeah, thank you for the Monster Hunter cat. Adorable.
Yeah. It's been sitting up here waiting for me to send you something. Just a giant $5 Monster Hunter plush cat. I got one too, slightly different pose. Nice. But did you look inside the Rift headset?
Oh no, not yet.
So I left you my other snag because the Rift didn't leave lots of room for eyeglasses. I had to buy a 3D printed frame that somebody did. Like, just like you could just pay $5 on whatever site those are and you just get it in the mail. And then they had like a specific website to go get like your prescription glasses in a round frame and tear them out of the frame and fit them into this thing. So I left it in there to be funny. You can just kind of like squeeze it and like peel the thing out, but it's like a set of like prescription lenses in
Nice.
a 3D printed plastic brace in front of the fucking headset lenses. Cause like all four of those lenses would fog up and it would just,
God.
In like, again, every time we went to play, it's like,
yeah.
So the Quest, again, I don't mind plugging in the PC. I like that because you get the better graphics stuff better. But like, my glasses fit way better in the Quest one. It seems a little lighter. I don't have the sensors. Again, you got 3 sensors and a headset for free. I hope that they all still work after shipping and controllers. But it was a lot of money for a lot of fun. But I had to. It was an exercise in patience.
Yeah.
Like old school, Grand Theft Auto or whatever. You try to play and the game's got to update, and then it takes the loading would break for us. It's like 40 minutes to get into a play game. You have no time to play. It's like that was like the Rift story for me. So I'm so glad they have better hardware for that end of it. But for me, it comes to a point where it's kind of like this hardware is completely usable. I hope game devs go the route of like the PS2 because they did some black magic with how they made games look so good on the PS2, like way after the end of the life console. Like they just mastered it. So like I don't mind. Other people need new hardware all the time. I think I'm just like we haven't really mastered this one. Like squeeze every last little bit out of it. But that doesn't sell. That doesn't push units. So
yeah, and I get it. Like with the better clarity and resolution, like people might not get motion sickness as much. So I'm all for that stuff. It's just you have these people, the enthusiasts, like a headset comes out and it's all you hear about for 6 months and this and that and it comes out and then you don't hear anything about it again for like a month later. Like no one cares. Like I hate that. Like I don't need
that's
the
another thing too. Like with the expectations and not being into trying not to be as into consumerism. It's like if you deprive yourself on a couple of those things, like when like use video games for example. Like video games would come out and we had a bunch of people playing. Like we would buy like pretty much all the new games and we'd all play them, and they'd only last like a month. And not all of them were that fun. We just had people to play and we all wanted to play something, so it kind of worked out. But like nowadays, if you just wait a month, everything dies down, and you like, yeah, you might have missed the boat on this game, but does that even matter? What game was it really going to be that fun? So you have more time, more money.
I've been having that internal conversation myself for the last week because again I was sick, so I was playing more flat games. Mainly, I put my 170th hour on Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Nice.
And they just released like a new pack. Like they've had a couple DLCs, which
or something.
Yeah. So I finished the base game, which I'm proud of myself because it was long and I made it.
You get distracted on the long ones, yeah.
So then I did the first DLC, which is like another whole story, and then there was a second one that was a whole story, and I made it through. I did the story on each of those, and then I'm like, well, I still have a ton of other stuff I can do. I'll probably just go back and tinker with those things. I don't have to collect everything. I'm not one of those people. I'm like, well, I could get that new pack, but it's $40. I know if I wait 2 months, it'll be 20, so I'm gonna wait. But yeah, I was like fighting with myself, like, just get it. You clearly you're putting time in. I'm like, no, I don't. I got plenty of other crap to play.
Like I played a bunch of Guild Wars 2 recently. So I've actually spent some money on some skins to give the game free to play, and it's actually really good. But they had a dragon skin, and I don't even have the dragon mount yet, and I haven't played for like I don't know how long. Because it's like a old school Warcraft, like getting your hunter weapon or whatever. It takes you like a month to unlock this thing. But I saw the skin, and they have like an orange, goofy looking dragon skin that looks like the Train Your Dragon toothless one, like this happy-go-lucky looking thing. I'm like, I don't know when that's going to be back for sale again, so I'm going to buy it. And I haven't used it. I haven't been playing. I'm trying to unlock a different mount now because it's easier to do this one and then use that one. And it's like, shit. But again, it's a slow-moving game anyway. It's fine. But I get to you like. And I would have a hard time keeping up with you specifically video games. So you'd be like, we get into something, and I'm slow. Like I get into like the method actor kind of video game stuff. Like we get into it, and I get the feel of it. And then PJ's like, this new game came out. Let's try it. I'm like, like pulling on my cosplay outfit to get ready to play the game kind of thing. Like what? I just sewed a hauberk. What are you talking about? Like this is the only game for us for a year, so we're completely different on that aspect. I think like we're so similar on a lot, but then you like to try all these things. I'm like, I'm still.
I've literally played 6 different games today.
I can't. And I think I mentioned the roundtable once, or maybe it was some guest once. So it's like I gotta get into the groove and I gotta play. And they're like, everybody's like that. I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, but you play like a Call of Duty and then and Destiny and this and that, like whatever, play like 3 shooters in the same day.
Yeah.
It's different for me. Like, again, I've got videos of Titanfall with that Kraber sniper, people zip lining and shit like that. I'm like, yeah, knock them right off with that heavy, slow-ass sniper. That didn't happen overnight. And even though I'm good at it, it takes me I got to be playing that game for a week to get into that zone. And then I just start rip shit riot. I just kill everybody for like one match. And it's like, yeah, nobody saw that because everyone's playing a different game. Like, fuck. I'm never going to believe me. So I'm a slow, get into the feel of it.
It was funny today because I played some VR. I think I played an hour of Spider-Man on PS5 because that was a game, exclusive, so it's cool. Then I played some Xbox, and then the wife and I played some Kirby on the Switch, so going from all those controllers is a mind fuck.
that too. It's like,
but it's like a switch for my brain. Like I could, because we've talked about this. My control styles are ridiculous.
Yes, but if you guys had seen this motherfucker play an N64, it wasn't like thumb on the gray joystick. Like if you remember, there's like the 3 pieces, and there's like the middle one has your thumb on it. No, he's got a finger and an index finger and a thumb, like pinching the damn thing. I don't remember how you used to do that shit. You're like, okay, Tinkerbell, just slap that out of your hand. Like, what the hell? You're always weird. Southpaw and all sorts of crap.
But yeah, it was so a Southpaw. Like I'm a big Southpaw enthusiast. But we used to play Halo, like when Halo first went online, like I can switch controls that are completely opposite, like mid game, and kind of keep up with my current scores. I don't know anyone else that can do that because that is not easy. But
What do you mean, like switch that?
so it's your sticks are swapped, but I also
So like
invert.
left stick to walk, right stick to
Yeah.
look around, and you do the
Hmm.
opposite. So
Yep.
left thumb looks around.
Yep. And it's inverted. I can switch between. I can flip the switch sticks back, and I can turn inversion off, and still keep up. Like,
I can't do any of that shit.
yeah, it's weird, but
I didn't even know really. Like I knew you had issues and you could swap like that because you'd be, and you and our other friend Brazen would be like mad at GTA because the control scheme is not letting you do something the way
yeah,
you need to do it. And it's like, I don't understand. I sympathize, but I don't understand. But I didn't know you could do swapping like that. Cause like if, like you're on the couch next to somebody, you're playing a game, you're swapping the controller and they don't have inverted and I do, I can't.
yeah,
Like, I'm just like I can adapt to it. But like, even if I just play it for a few minutes and then you like just to get situated and then go change it in the settings, I'm fucked up on my regular inverted settings because I played for
yeah.
that like for like 30 seconds. Like just to navigate a menu fucks me up.
Yep. Yeah, it's weird.
How does that work?
It's just a mental thing for me. I don't know. I know it's not normal, but I don't know if you remember our Rainbow Six days. Like there were times. I don't know. This doesn't have anything to do with anything, but like I would take out the entire team before anyone else saw another person.
Yeah. We're not bragging, but we sometimes in our old crew that would play like every night, we had like 5, 7, 8 people. Sometimes we weren't allowed to be on the same team because we
Oh yeah,
communicate without words, and then we were both like better than the average player because we just played a lot. A lot of Rainbow Six too. Yeah, I would do that
it was
kind
either
of
you or
crap.
me, and it was like our friends would get so mad because the round would just be over, and they're like, I didn't even see anybody. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. It's
and it
crazy.
would get to the point where we'd have to take like just handguns to
Mm-hmm.
give other people a thing. And I remember, no scoping with the 50 cal on Rainbow Six, one of the Rainbow Sixes, because like if you could hit them, it was a one hit kill no matter what. So if I could like, wrangle that thing, and it was kind of better than nowadays where you can actually no scope, and that's like built into the game because crybabies need it or something. But like
Yeah,
this was like not easy to do, and it had to like basically run into you and then make sure you filled up all my camera and pull the trigger before I died, and your body would go sailing. So I'm sitting over there perfecting that shit, which is not easy, and still winning the match sometimes. Like, oh my god.
yeah. It's. I remember you visited for the first time in forever. I don't know why I would be playing. I was playing Rainbow Six, and you're like watching me. You're like, what the fuck?
It's weird watching him do it. It's like somebody playing Jenga with their feet. It's like what the. I'm not
Yeah,
kidding. The N64 is like literally like using a index finger thumb to pinch a joystick and then move it around instead of just using your thumb, and then your hand like flapping like your middle finger onto like the little trigger speed button or
yeah,
whatever. And they're like, there's like you're like an insect, like an alien insect that has like all these tendrils, and you can like an octopus. You can actually make use of each fucking tentacle. Like what the hell?
yeah. That's
I
why
can
the Elite
barely get my
controller on
thumb to work.
Xbox is so fucking awesome for me. Like,
Yeah, I still have a
yeah, it's
clip.
crazy.
Sometimes I put it in here, a clip of like a headshot reel I have from Black Ops 3 when we first got the Xbox Elite controllers. Because when it clicks and you can like wall run without letting go of your left stick, so you can just like
Mm,
there's a spot where I'm like wall running up a spot, and this guy like had laid down behind a barrier so I wouldn't shoot him. And I'm just wall running, shooting him in the head as I'm wall running and landing on him like the whole way down. And it's
yeah,
like because of the paddles, that's like the first kill that it was really like ode to joy playing and like sun rays coming down. I was like, that was it. And I've used one ever since.
I've also often thought about getting a used 64, obviously used, but just to see if I could like do that again. Like if that my brain would remember that. It has to the on hours we spent on it, but
I don't know if like I could because like you'd use the C buttons again. Younger folks had never played one. Like there's 4 yellow buttons on the side. That was your walk, and then the joystick was left thumb usually to look around. There's a D-pad on the other side. So like if you didn't want to use buttons to move your camera, you'd have to use the joystick, the one and only, on your left hand. So like I don't think you had the ability in most games to change the config, so I could use like my right hand to look around. So I was looking around with my left thumb. I don't do that anymore. I just walk with the left thumb, and if that game doesn't support it, fuck it. I don't play it. Like I ain't got time for that noise. I don't think I could go back and play like GoldenEye on this with a 64 controller as much as I would want to. It would it would ruin it.
But yeah, next time it's just the two of us, we'll have to go through our history, and I'm sure we have more weird stories like that.
Probably.
Anyway, we still went over an hour. What the hell?
Yeah, I started a little early so we wouldn't do that. You get me talking. So that new Lord of the Rings show. Just kidding.
Anyway.
Stop.
Well, we have a guest next week, and I think the week after that will be the round table. So
already, wow.
And I'm scheduling new guests in for May. So let us know if I know we've gotten feedback on these episodes, all positive. If you don't like these episodes, let us know. It's just fun to talk.
I ramble. You can hurt my feelings or try to if you want to. It doesn't matter. Like to say that guy needs to stop talking so much. I don't care. I mean, that's what we're doing here, but I can go ad nauseum.
If you want to hear more in-depth stuff, let us know that too. We can do that.
I drive people crazy. I could go longer, I think.
But anyway, yeah. Just thought it'd be nice. We have the roundtable episodes, and then these episodes, and then the normal guest episodes. So see what happens. Just fun to share other crap that we don't get to share otherwise.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, it's a hangout session. Again, we live 1,800 miles apart. 1,800 for people that don't like saying 1,800.
This is literally the only time we talk, because when we play shit, we don't talk. So
yeah, like, well, we kind of talk, but PJ just runs you over when you're trying to, like put C4 in your car. You'd be like, "Hey,
how's your new cat?" Okay. I don't give a shit, baby.
Yeah. Oh, it's fine. What's that beeping? Okay.
Yeah, that's me. Sorry.
It is.
But anyway, everyone, thanks for hanging out and listening.
Have a good night. If you're watching this live and it's tomorrow's like a holiday and you've got 3-day weekend, enjoy good long weekends. Take a nap or not.
Happy Easter. I guess Beth was telling me earlier, this is Holy Thursday, the Thursday before Good Friday. I'm like, what is it? Supernatural Saturday, Easter Sunday, Easter Monday? Like what is the point of this? I don't know. Did something happen? Is it on Thursday that means something? I don't know.
The Holy Thursday?
Yeah, it's a Catholic thing. I don't know anything about it, but
I don't either. I mean, some of these things have to be rooted in something, so maybe you should go find out. But it kind of makes me just want to make up holidays, like
the sentence, how quick your brain reacts sometimes. She's like, Holy Thursday. I thought she was going to be like a Batman thing. Like,
yeah. Holy Thursday.
Yeah. Anyway, enjoy yourself, whatever you're doing. Thanks for watching and listening. Come back next week.
Eat a lot of ham.
Next week, Wookiee will make this face.
Oh, I'm sorry. We still have pill hands. You got a day job.
Yeah, what do you want? That is one funny thing when I'm reaching out to new devs and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, could you do it at like most people like conferences and stuff. It's like 1 p.m. PST. I'm like, no, we both work till here, and we work normal boring jobs. Sorry. Wow. What do you want? All right, guys. Later.
Have a good night.